Hello, I'm Heather King, and I'm I'm continuing my little series on what I call my own personal communion of artist saints. I'm just wanting to introduce people to some of the many people who have really moved me and inspired me throughout the years. So this is let me see if I can get a screen share up here. You are screen sharing, new share. All righty. Okay, so this is the world of Donald Evans, and these are all people I've written about. So I'm going to read this piece about this wonderful artist, and it's called Donald Evans and His Fantastic World of Postage Stamps. Look at these are all little stamps that he himself drew. This is a book that's about his work, wonderful book. Anyway, Donald Evans, 1945 to 1977, American-Dutch artist, was born in Morristown, New Jersey, to Dorothy and Charles Evans. As biographer Willy Eisenhart, Eisenhart, points out, Donald put his whole life and everything that interested him into the stamps of his fantasy world. An only child, Evans grew up in a stable, prosperous, and loving middle-class family. He liked to play alone. I love these people. An older neighbor introduced him to stamp collecting when he was 6. He spent hours poring over what struck him as tiny narratives, memorizing the names of the countries and capitals of the world, learning about the flags, currency, local customs, and flora and fauna of fiefdoms, dictatorships, and obscure islands. His best friend for a time was Charles Fisk, who came from old money and whose well-traveled family, Evans recalled, quote, had a fascinating house full of collections of things and lots of encyclopedias, unquote. The two boys built elaborate sand castles and palaces, made maps and calendars, and invented characters. Charles's was named Uncle Rich Harvest. Donald called his character the Queen. When Donald was 10, Eisenhart recounts in The World of Donald Evans, he found that he could render the places in his imagination, quote, more real by making stamps from them and little letters, unquote. He outlined the stamps in pencil, filled them in with pen and brush, and made the perforations by pummeling out rows of periods on an old typewriter. In 5 years, writes Eisenhart, he made 1,000 stamps. He invented 50 countries to issue them, places like Frandia, Doland, Germand, Kunstland, Kuntsland, that was East and West, Slobovia, and the Western United Powers. Each had its own flag and coat of arms, currency, government, and rulers. Each had its own flag and coat of arms, currency, government, and rulers. Geographies and histories were intertwined with protectorates and occupations, unions, and federations. From the beginning, Evans meticulously cataloged his work. Quote, he mounted and identified all the stamps in notebooks, the 3-volume worldwide stamp album, alphabetically arranged by country. Separately, he typed and illustrated leaflets modeled on real collectors' catalogs. For instance, in a catalog of the stamps of Aluala, A-L-U-A-L-A, a made-up place, 1939 to 1957, he listed all the issues with their dates, denominations, and colors, as well as prices in Alawalan pounds for mint condition and canceled stamps. So he really did it up right. He inhabited this whole fantasy world that he reduced to his beautiful stamps. At the age of 15, he stopped making stamps, seemingly forever. He pursued typical teenage interests. He dated a cheerleader, attended football games, applied to college. He studied art history at Cornell. His parents wanted him to be an architect. Bumped around Europe for a summer, and in 1964 settled down at Cornell School of Architecture after all. After graduating in 1969, he joined the prestigious New York City firm of Richard Meyer and Associates. Unhappy, however, with the frenetic pace of New York life and ambivalent about his profession, he began to show the stamp books he'd compiled as a youth to friends. The response was enthusiastic. He sold his stamp collection to his father, gave up his apartment in Brooklyn, and set out for Holland as if, quote, in dream, unquote, with his watercolors and a stack of pre-perforated paper. I just left, he told a friend, and the world is so different, and I don't understand anything. In 1972 alone, he made 561 stamps from 20 countries. Let me try to show some of his other let's see. Here's a here's a collection of these amazing trees. Dwarf palmetto, coconut. I'm not sure what this is a series, obviously Palti, I think it says. So it has a theme, but anyway, it's got these gorgeous, as you can see, there's a coconut palm, a thatch palm, just gorgeous. Let's see what else I have. Here's just a single stamp. Look at this beautiful, like the food of Italy, with a wheel of Parmesan and a grater and garlic and pesto. I guess they're pesto. Yeah, these are the ingredients to make pesto, but you can see that just the incredible detail. He traveled light and lived close to the bone, spending what little money he had on books. Eisenhart writes he had books on windmills and mushrooms, flowers, fruits and vegetables, old ships and planes, birds and birds' eggs, illustrated travel books, stamp catalogs, and books on stamps and postal history, works of Gertrude Stein. And he had a few seashells, a set of dominoes, and a lot of library cards. The stamps are exquisite, dreamy watercolors of ships, planes, mountains, and fish. Series on Middle Eastern minarets, a falcon in flight, tartan plaids, and various breeds of chickens. Symbols of the Repubblica de Banana include a tall black boot, a crayfish, a scorpion, and a palm tree. I think I have, hold on, I think I have here we go. These are from the Repubblica de Banana. There you go. There's the tall black boot, the crayfish, the palm tree. Just fantastic. I mean, these go on and on. Drinks of Bar Centrum was inspired by one of his favorite Amsterdam cafes. Eventually, he collected his work in one volume called The Catalogue of the World. He began to sell his work and to achieve a certain amount of success. In 1975, he told the Paris Review, "It was vicarious traveling for me to a made-up world that I liked better than the one I was in. I'm doing that now, too. No catastrophes occur. There are no generals or battles or warplanes on my stamps. The countries are innocent, peaceful, composed. Sometimes I get so concentrated in these worlds, I get confused. It's hard to get out." In the end, catastrophe impinged nevertheless. On April 29th, 1977, the Amsterdam apartment house where Evans lived caught fire. He died at 31, a stone's throw from his beloved windmills and dikes. His life was like one of his own miniature works of art, a dreamscape incorporating the banana trees, shells, and bird eggs he treasured, framed by a border of banged out black dots, painstakingly, lovingly worked out with a Grumbacher No. 2 brush. Bruce Chatwin, the wonderful, the late travel writer who wrote the incredible book Songlines. Fabulous writer himself, loved Donald Evans. Donald had many admirers, and Chapman's admiration was effusive. By common consent, the art of the dropout generation is a mess, and the art of Donald Evans is the antithesis of a mess, nor is it niggling, nor is it precious. Yet I can't think of another artist who expressed more succinctly the beautifully the best aspirations of those years, the flight from war and the machine, the asceticism, the nomadic restlessness, the yearning for sensual cloud cuckoo lands, the retreat from public into private obsessions, from the big and noisy to the small and still. Donald Evans, wonderful. Yeah, what a gorgeous life, interesting. And I have the Willy Eisenhart book. It's just wonderful, The World of Donald Evans. So I encourage you to check it out. You can see tons of his images online. So we continue our reverence for, appreciation for, yeah, the kind of little known perhaps, and the hardworking. Okay. God bless you. Take care. Let me know if you if you have sort of little bit under the radar kinds of writers and sculptors and people that you love, let me know, because I'm always on the lookout. Okay.